We're over here at the vendor area coming from the World Speed Shooting Championship at the CMP Marksmanship Park, and we're at Creekside Custom, which was a new sponsor this year for the match. Expanded kind of a side project and is now doing a lot more. So let's take a look at what we got going on over here. Steve?
What's up, Jake? How are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, how'd your match go?
You know, it went well. We had a good time. Didn't shoot as well as I would like to, but man, the guns ran great.
So your focus has changed a little bit.
A little bit,
The competitive nature's still there, but let's talk about what you got going on over here. You got a family business.
Yep.
All right, so what do we got? Let's talk about some of the cool stuff besides what you shot in the match. We'll come back on that because you're shooting for Ruger. We're going to focus on that here in a minute, but let's talk about, start here on the rifles.
So one of the newest things, so we've been very blessed and fortunate over the last couple of years. Back in January, we reached out and purchased a company called Crazy Ivan, and so this is the original chassis that Carl came up with. So it's a patented system that takes a lower and upper, and it takes a factory Ruger and has 4 bolts, goes right in the top of 1022. How many millions are out there? There's a lot of these out there. And then it allows you to put any free-floating AR handguard on there, an AR grip, and AR buttstock. So we sell these as just the upper and lower because we've got a lot of folks that like to, our motto is, how bold is your build? Because, man, it's just like ARs. Everybody wants something custom, and that's what we're all about. So we sell that, and we also sell it as a package. And we're testing the market. We're going to do a legacy series. We're going to do 10 of these. I've already sold one.
Okay.
Somebody that knows Crazy Ivan really well. So that's our original chassis.
So let me break this down a little bit. Me looking at it and understanding a little bit better. What you've taken here is an original 1022. Doesn't matter if it's from the mid-60s or if it's one you just bought. You've taken out essentially the receiver from what people would normally kind of understand. And this takes into adding this upper Picatinny rail that's on there. But doing this now allows for this modular, somewhat handguard system. So now you can have the feel of an AR.
That's exactly
because the lower section of this allows for the pistol grip, which now has a standard mil-spec style tube on it. You can do different style of buttstocks. Now some of these, this is a little bit more of a precision rifle style that gives you a lot more adjustment. This is a little bit less on that, where you do still have the cheek weld that's on there. And you can even go, I don't know if you have it over here, but you can go as minimalistic as
just a regular
standard straight AR type of stock that's on there. And then this means when you do that type of tube, you'll be able to use even Magpul style stocks. So if there's something that you're, if you're familiar with the feel of what you have on your AR now, you're being able to duplicate some of that.
And that's exactly the way that we've been selling this to folks, because PCC has taken off in the last, 7-8 years in Steel Challenge. You can put the same buttstock, the same grip that you're shooting on. Maybe you're shooting a JP, maybe whatever platform you're shooting for PCC, you can set up your 1022 as a trainer. And so you got the same feel. You're bringing that same cheek placement, the same grip, the whole 9 yards. And here in a couple weeks, we're actually going to release a carbon fiber handguard to go with this, more of the competitive shooter route. So
that will take the overall weight down by probably, I'm guessing if you're going from that style to a carbon fiber, well, you're losing about 1.5 pounds?
Yeah, it's probably just a little bit less than that. Most of these come with steel barrel nuts. Because of weight, we're going to go for aluminum. And then, of course, the carbon fiber, takes weight off the front end, which a lot of us like.
And since you're doing the way that it's mounted on here, going to a carbon fiber style, you're not losing any of that kind of rigidity that you need in an AR.
To
keep the gas system flowing, because it's not an AR, but it's the feel of an AR.
That's exactly right. And this chassis, the original chassis, it's been tough to keep them in stock. It's ended up being a supply chain game, so which is great. And
well, even if you're not in the competition world and you want to get a trainer in a 22 format and you've got an old 1022 sitting around, you can get this chassis and now have a trainer to your self-defense or competition AR 223556 at a much cheaper thing instead of going to buying a 22 platform.
So even for some of the precision folks, there's a hole in the back of the buffer tube in all of our chassis, and there's a screw in there for the precision guys that puts pressure on the back of the 1022 receiver, and so it pins into place. I didn't bring it with me, but I've got the best squirrel gun in the world.
Also, doing that, now you're forcing a little bit better accuracy through that. Are you seeing some NRL people that are now moving to this, especially this being able to have this precision rifle stock? Which that's what this is. If anybody doesn't notice, this is a PRS or precision rifle stock style that gives you a ton of adjustment. Obviously, you don't have the one that's weighted out like they normally have on some of the other rifles. So you don't need it on a 22, but having to be able to kind of accurize better, we're getting that barrel tension down. Puts you into that NRL type of shooting.
I've got a Ruger custom shop. The barrel that came on this gun, I've got it in a regular 1022 with a chassis. I should have brought it with me. And shooting Ely match, it stacks them right on top of each other at 50 yards with a suppressor. Oh, it's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it's not too bad. Let's talk about, so back when I first started shooting competitively back in 2016, there was a lot of hype around, guns, giveaways at matches, and there's a lot of great companies that support matches, including Ruger, and a lot of people are giving out certificates, but what I like is the buzz. I want people to get the buzz of what's going out on a prize table and something that's cool. So my wife, Teresa, she's the creative one, so she put out a poll out on social media, said, hey, we're going to go ahead and do a custom gun. So this one's going to be on the prize table, order of finish. We had a top shooter that came by and said, hey, this is going to be mine, so we'll see if he picks it up at the prize table. And so we put it out there and did a Top Gun theme. And so this is a custom Cerakote. It's the Ruger 1022, the new carbon fiber barrel, comes with a BX trigger, our original chassis. And we got about 6 hours of just deep engraving on there, and boy, did that thing! That's been the talk of.
You've had a lot of people. Folks. I think you even had some people asking if they could go shoot it too.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you said, well, depends on how well you do in the match.
That's right. We've had a couple people say, so how much? I said, well, how much ammo did you use to prepare for this match? And yeah, but we'll never do another one like that. But it came out super cool.
And it's awesome that, I mean, first time sponsor doing a custom one-off for this. And like you said, to have it here, to have the buzz versus just a certificate is awesome. Yeah. Because picking up the certificate's one thing, being able to see what you're going to get is another. And
touch it and feel it.
Yeah, and we don't have the ability to do FFL transfers ourselves.
Right,
that's why we do the certificate just to make it easy, because a lot of people aren't.
That's
you live in Georgia. We're in Alabama. If I was to win, which I won't, I live in Indiana. So
just
to make sure everything is done correctly.
Ship it to the FFL.
We'll be able to do the FFL side of that instead of somebody thinking they're going home with it. You got to make sure it's all done correctly.
And one other cool piece is my brother. He's into 3D printing.
Yeah.
So we did a custom Top Gun box for
right down to the
Creekside Custom.
Is that cool? Yeah. So he makes all of my boxes for.
So this is the magazine holder, the rotary magazine holder for the 1022.
Yep. And that's going to go with it.
Which for when you go over there and you sit down on the stage, you pop this open and there's the mags that you need for the match.
Yep. Absolutely.
So also on top of building out the chassis and customizing the rifles, we got some stuff going on with some handguns.
Yeah.
Some cool finishes, but also the compensators.
Yeah, absolutely.
So walk us through the changes that you've noticed and the testing that you've noticed on how important a comp is on 22 rimfire, because a lot of people think it ain't that important.
It doesn't make a difference.
But you've done some stuff a little different.
Yeah. So here's the deal with compensators. If you're a beginner shooter, are you going to necessarily notice a difference in a compensator right off the get-go? Probably not. But as your times continue to go down, with a good compensator, the sight disruption when you're pulling the trigger and reacquiring the sight, it's minimal. So this is actually our first machine prototype that's been Cerakoted. That's got, I don't know, 15,000 rounds on it. So here's what we did, and we're giving away a little bit of grandma's secret sauce, if you would. But we don't have any rounded edges in here. and then the comp is slightly forward just a couple of degrees, and so it doesn't have a lot of surface area for stuff to stick to it. And so these are $50. I mean, it's a small investment, so they're easy to clean, very functional. You know, you put this comp and compare it to some of the other comps that are out there, this performs extremely, extremely well. And so we did have, this is the Falcon 2. We did a Falcon 1. We partnered with somebody, and we were having some opportunities with, you know, it leading up pretty quick, and so that's why we made some of the changes. So keeps the sight right down when you're pulling the trigger.
So one of the things I noticed that when you get it and as it's shipped, it's going to come with the ring washers that are on there because this is a screw-on.
That's exactly right.
Versus a bolt-on. So there's a big difference between the two, and this allows you to kind of size it as you will to make sure that you get it in the exact orientation that you want.
Properly timed.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
There you go. There you go.
So you got a couple of different options that come on.
That's correct. We've got a slight design enhancement coming. I won't tell you what that is yet, but it's going to make it just even a little bit better. But the compensator has been really, really good for us.
And it's your standard 1x28.
That's
kind
correct.
Of threads.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of the 2245s, Mark 5s, Mark 4s that are out there, even the Valkortsons. So like a standard Valkortson. If you want it to go away from their design. Versus a different design that's out there, it fits right up to them.
Yeah, and that's why we engineered it to come off right off that top lip onto this one to make it more aesthetically pleasing instead of, hey, I got a round comp on a kind of square gun.
And you also sell the comps for the rimfire rifles.
And that's exactly. This is the Falcon 2R for rifle.
Okay.
And so they're clocked this way, so you got the ports coming out the side. Look, there's nothing worse than you're shooting the best stage you've ever shot, and then you go, oh darn, the timer didn't pick it up. And so this sends some of the sound backwards and picks up the timers pretty easily. That doesn't do as much for, you know, sight alignment or sight disruption or anything like that. And then of course we're Creekside Custom, so I've got a custom one-off titanium compensator. You know why, Jake? Because we could.
Right.
First of all, not? Why not?
The flame titanium.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
It is cool. Yeah.
I mean, I have it on a JPAR.
Yep.
One of their flame titanium comps on that, and it's, you know, it's just cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this is the other thing I want people to understand too, is that as a competitor and a top level competitor that you've been, R&D is in the backyard.
It really is.
And it's not just
really
with
is.
you, because you also teach people.
Yes.
So you get to see entry-level shooters all the way up to people that are scratching for that 1/10 of a second. And a lot of these things are designed around how you get that 1/10 of a second,
absolutely,
100th of a second.
Absolutely.
Like you said, you may not notice the difference of this your first year or two. But there is a difference that it absolutely makes. And when you start, you know, scratching at those 1/10 of a second, 100th of a second to go from A, Master, GM, or chasing your division title here at a level 2, level 3, or even Worlds. There are differences in what can be done to your firearm to customize it. Go ahead.
So look, I'm known as a rifle shooter, and I love shooting rifles. I love shooting pistols, but it's not my wheelhouse. So what I've done is I've designed some parts to make me a better pistol shooter. So we came up with the grips and mag wells. These are aluminum, but outside of being a cool gun stand, it just puts the grip right into your hand.
Locks you into it.
It's like another point of contact, and I'd be embarrassed to tell you how many hours we have going through the different grip textures. It's not super aggressive, but I sweat a lot. I know, honey, I'm sorry. But I do sweat a lot, especially when I'm shooting in the hot Georgia sun. You can shoot that gun all day. You don't need chalk on your hands. It's got just enough aggressiveness, and it won't move. And even tender hands or big hands and little hands, shoot it all day.
So here's a couple of things to show you. If Brian can get in here. You see how my dominant hand or my strong side hand locks into here, right? But it's not pushed up. It fits right into the fat part of your hand. So you notice that. Now I'm locked into this back strap that's checkered. I have this open right here. So the grip that you want fits directly in there. And as I wrap around, notice how my hand, and what Steve's done here that's really impressive is, see how this supports and pushes this hand up into it? So the whole idea of this lip right here is to push this support hand up into this. And then the palm of my hand locks into this opening, and you can see how the aggressiveness of this fits right in there. So I'm locked in, and on a low ready start, I'm holding the gun in, I'm locked in. There's not going to be any movement. I'm not going to be coming off the bottom of it or missing because I'm pushed into it. That's a really cool lip design that you have on there.
So we designed that for people with small hands, and a friend of mine, I'm not going to call him out, he's got the biggest hands that I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's exactly to your point. That's why some of the magwells you see on other guns come up here. But this is intentionally made for people with bigger hands that can come off the back. So it's really universal across multiple hand sizes.
There's a company out there that makes a magwell for USPSA kind of competition, 2011s. That has a gap here. And if you've got this fat part of your hand in that gap and the ledge comes out, for me, it pushes my hand in a weird kind of place, and the gap becomes kind of irritated. So I love how this is closed off across the back, and that it's stepped instead of a large gap in there, because the large gap in there doesn't. This allows better hand fit across big, medium, and small. So that's a really cool kind of ledge that you have on there.
So here's
and how it bolts on is recessed, so you don't feel it. That's
and
well thought out.
No modifications to the gun. Put on your panels, magwell goes on here. But check this out. Well, I know you like pretty shiny stuff like I do. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, I was going for you've got the thumb say, or not the
thumb rest.
Thumb rest. There's the word. There's the word I was looking for.
There you go. So we went one step further, Jake, because these are aluminum, and I grew up a 1911 guy. So we did two things. I like a little bit more weight in my hand because it's a steel gun.
Right.
Feel this bad boy. Feel that in the hand. So the brass is 15.7 ounces.
So I was about to say we've added a pound.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So that's, I'm just building stuff that I've always wanted that makes me a better pistol shooter, and it's been so cool and supportive to see all these people giving me the feedback of, hey, this is what it's done for me. I got goosebumps just thinking about it, so it's so cool. But
look at how my hand on this gun, on this style, where I'm literally just locked in. So on a low ready start, I'm locked in. There's nothing moving on here. Even with the aggressive, I am digging in to get that kind of movement, but I'm pushed up. My support on there, that's really cool, Steve.
Okay, check this out. You ready?
All right.
Because I know you're like shooting 1911s as well. That one's got a little pre-travel, and I recommend a little pre-travel. Try the trigger. And then feel the reset. I've had that all weekend. Yeah, we call that the 1922 trigger. Yep, that's exactly right.
I call that, oops. I would guarantee you that if I was to go over there and just shoot this straight up, you would have at least one oops as I got used to it. But no, I'm fat because I've been shooting striker fires. So
there's a little magic in that one.
I was gonna say 18 ounces. So I was a little off.
But the key to this, to make me a better pistol shooter, okay, you get the weight down, right? Which is good, but I like a little bit of that pre-travel. But as soon as I'm shooting Steel Challenge or anything else, I pull that first one, and I'm not consciously releasing my finger off the trigger. There's a natural where it just comes off a little bit, and I'm going to the next sight, or the next target, pulling the trigger. So it does a couple things. You got the brass on there, gives you a little bit of weight, limits sight disruption, and with that type of trigger,
why don't you get in here and watch the actual... Let's see if we can hear the reset.
Yeah. So,
all right. So what are you doing inside of it besides the trigger?
So this is
what's the secret sauce?
So this is there's a couple things. So this is a Mark IV that I shot in competition the other day. So it's a Mark IV. Of course, we got some cool colors because that's what I like. Brass grip Magwell, Billy Striplin, thumb rest, tandem cross, extended safety, Volquartsen bolt. They do an amazing job with this. Of course, we already talked about the comp.
And the Volquartsen bolt also includes your extractor system,
That's
which
correct.
is an upgrade.
That's correct. And then, of course, the custom comp. So this, on the inside, has the Volquartsen accurizing kit.
Okay.
We did end up keeping the trigger return spring, the factory one, plunger. So we sell the accurizing kit for $103, and then the trigger shoe. So here's the interesting part about the trigger shoe. So I've got kind of shorter, my wife calls it my disability because I got short, kind of meaty hands. So I like a trigger back a little bit further, but what happens is when you pull a trigger back a little bit like this, you get what's called mechanical advantage. So not every trigger setup's the same. This takes a Volquartsen accurizing kit with their trigger that will be just right about 2 pounds or just under. This knocks about 3 to 4 ounces off, and you get just slightly a better reset. So we sell this for $60. It's been so popular for us. Had our friends at Volquartsen, Scott, reach out to me. He's like, Steve, I've seen all the videos. I've seen all these reviews. Send me a trigger, sir. I said, I would love to. So I sent it to Scott, and he's like, look, that's a home run. Can we sell them for you? I'm like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
So it's you know, Scott's been amazing. You know, this is the best I think that's out there in terms of this combination. We probably sold, I think, 150 of these triggers in the last 3 to 4 days. So it's been crazy. And the cool part is I haven't had a single person that's come here this weekend and pull the trigger and not go, you know. So that's been awesome. But those upgrades, flat out, you know, some people say you can't buy your game. That has made me a better pistol shooter.
You're right. At a certain level, you can plateau with stock.
Yep.
And if you want to push past it, there are some enhancements that are definitely change your game.
Yep.
The comp is one.
Yep.
How you get your gripping on there and what's comfortable to you, and always a better trigger.
Absolutely.
You're always going to have a better aftermarket trigger than you will with a factory trigger.
Yep.
I mean, there's legalities to that
Sure.
from the big manufacturers. That is by far the best trigger that I've messed with on a 22 handgun. Probably 2011 competition trigger out of my. It's better than the ones that are on the comp guns that I'm shooting now.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
yeah, figure out how to do that for a 2011.
So we're you know, the market just has exploded.
I'm just doing that for free for you.
I know.
Jam Worldwide LLC Consulting gives away free ideas all the time.
So the good part about these, what we've seen is, you know, when we released them back in October, we ran, you know, a pretty decent run. We sold half of them at the World Rimfire match. We sold the other half in the next 3 days after. And then we went, oh my goodness, we're on to something.
We got something.
We got something. But what happens is you know, guys like us, right?
Go to the range.
You put one trigger in, and then you got to have one for every single gun that you have.
And then you go and your buddy does it, and your buddy's
That's
like,
exactly
I gotta get
right.
3 more.
And then we got people like, hey man, have you tried this?
Right.
Yeah, sucker, you're good. Yeah,
that is awesome.
So it's been great. Yeah,
this is really cool. All right, so last thing I want you to walk us through.
Sure.
You are sponsored now by Ruger.
Yeah,
Ruger
absolutely.
Sponsored shooter.
Absolutely.
They came out with, right at the beginning of this year, they introduced it at SHOT Show. And I think the availability hit around February.
Yep.
Was a new 1022 carbon fiber. The actual, if you go into the USPSA magazine that just hit online last night, is my review of the rifle. And Steve's shooting for him, but Steve took that and, you know, customized it. Mine that I have was stock. It rained yesterday, so I decided not to shoot. So let's walk me through what you got going on here.
So here's what we've got. So this is, let me come over this way here just a little bit. So this is the factory gun. This barrel is absolutely magic. It's I think MSRP, if you go to Shop Ruger, is $250, but you get the barrel, the action, the bolt, and the BX trigger. I think MSRP is $649, somewhere in there.
$649, I believe, is what the MSRP is for the rifle as it comes from Ruger with a Magpul
stock,
lightweight
yep.
Precision rifle. It's not a precision rifle stock. It's the drop.
Yeah, like a carbon fire.
It's to simulate a pistol grip, but it's a rifle. It's a straight rifle grip that simulates. I can't remember the name
3 pounds and some change.
Yeah,
it's a light setup.
Yeah.
So I dropped a Volquartsen trigger in. This one breaks about 1.75 pounds. Of course, I'm shooting Vortex Defender XL. This is the 8. These are absolutely amazing. And then I dropped it into our Crazy Ivan competition chassis. And so, unlike the original, I don't have the upper on this to put a handguard on. Maybe I'll be shooting an open gun with that, but for right now, this competition one is so super nice with the Crazy Ivan grip. Actually did something that I tell people never to do. On Monday, Labor Day, I went from this butt stock you really like, and I said, let me get just a little bit more weight back here, and did a little customization to it. And so it's a Luth AR stock, but boy, yeah, swing that. Where's the center of balance on that bad boy?
Yeah,
you already know.
Yeah,
you already know.
That
gun moves fast.
And of course, like anybody, the real test is me messing with the trigger. See, I like that.
Yeah, you pull it right in. Yeah. But move the gun around a little bit. Yeah, see how it swings?
Yeah.
The center of balance is right there.
It's
right here on the gun.
So you don't. And I do like the way you have the cheek well set up.
Yeah.
That is. So how did you do with it?
I had fun and I look good doing it, Jake. I shot pretty well, but not as well as I would have liked. But fun fact. So I got this gun right before the 2025 West Florida Steel Challenge Championship. Didn't clean it. Ran just over 4,000 rounds through it by Memorial Day without cleaning it. Not a single malfunction. It runs right out of the box. None of this pulling out the last round or any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is with this butt stock on here. This is what we call our Pro Comp bundle. It's got the M-Lock rail, hand stop, comp chassis with a standard A2 grip like we have on the donation gun. With this buffer tube and butt stock, it's $415, and man, we can't keep these things in stock. These things have been really popular.
Yeah, out of the box, it's a home run from Ruger on what they have, and then taking it to the next level, getting a hold of Steve, getting the upgrades for somebody who knows what kind of works and walking through it.
Yeah.
Get out there, try it, and then build up to what you like and get something that's really good. Again, can't thank you enough for being a sponsor and coming
Absolutely.
out. Can't thank you enough for support that you guys have had. Ruger has had for 2 years in a row of this match. You shooting here and representing them. If you got any questions, Brian's got the videotape out there. Creekside Customs, you got all your information out there. Your social media channels are?
Creekside Custom Lasering out on Instagram, Facebook, Creekside Pew out on X, and of course C. Foster Competitive Shooter on Instagram. And in Facebook as well.
Awesome. Steve,
Jake,
thank you very
pleasure.
much.
Well-run match this weekend. Thank you.